this is one that you have some views about because we talked about this during the Football Night in America podcast on Sunday night, how to fix various teams, how to fix the Bears. You had some advice for the Bears specific to how to implement the offense. Well, they've implemented a change fairly dramatic in the offense by firing offensive coordinator Shane Waldron and elevating Thomas Brown on the fly, changing the tire on a moving car 9 games into the season. Help me understand, because my first reaction was, how's this going to make the offense better? How does a change like this in season potentially make an offense better?
Well, it's a tricky topic. It really is, particularly when you're talking about a coordinator, because for all the reasons you just said, you're changing midstream. There's a certain rhythm the team has been in up to this point, and now you're changing, and people forget that you're changing, and then you have a Wednesday practice, you have a Thursday practice. The game's on you before you can imagine. So I think that becomes a challenge for you to do that. But obviously they didn't feel good about the direction they were going in. There's an element of pressure when you draft the quarterback with the first pick. He's supposed to come in and be Superman right away. So there's all these outside external forces impacting the organization. The questions about their head coach, Matt Eberflus, where is he? What's his status? All these things are infiltrating this decision-making process they're going through. But I think the biggest thing for me is you have to recognize that the hardest thing for any quarterback as they come into the NFL is the drop-back passing game. I don't care where you've played, what level, how many Heismans you've won. It's a transition to come to the NFL. And to ask a guy to immediately get into a drop-back passing game time and time again, you're not going to have a lot of success. So for me, with them, just watching them from afar, it's, hey, let's run the ball. Let's move the quarterback. I would move the quarterback constantly. I mean, he's a rare athlete. He's one of the most rare athletes to come out in the draft in a long, long time. Let's get him out of the pocket. Let's get him out in space. We call them progression reads. You come out on a naked and you say, I'm going to throw the ball to Florio. Is Florio open? Yes, give it to him. If not, I'm going to throw it to Pete. Okay? If Pete's open, give it to him. If not, go to the next guy or run. And these are kind of the reads that you've had since you were in high school. And so as you're transitioning and learning more about pro football, you can keep it simple for a quarterback by doing that, particularly a quarterback with his ability. And I know they know that in Chicago, but I would go overboard with it. I would keep him out of the drop back passing game as much as they can until he's able to handle it better and they're able to handle it better as an offense. So it's a challenge to make the change midstream. I think that's the best thing they can do for him and for their team.
And look, there's a lot of stuff that surely happened behind the scenes that we won't be privy to, and it may come to light at some point down the road. But unless this was a situation where Shane Waldron was just completely unequipped and unfit to be an offensive coordinator and they hired the wrong guy, I can't help but wonder whether this is just a reaction to the fact that the Bears are failing to live up to the expectations that were created for them going into the season. And my question for you, Coach, when you're in that situation, and you were in kind of a unique spot in pro football or in pro sports with an owner who wants a lot of attention, a lot of hype, a lot of buzz, how can a coach who senses maybe they're expecting too much from us and from this kid as a rookie, how do you get control of that and get that level, that bar of what the team's supposed to be to come down? So 4-5 looks like not a failure.
I think the biggest part of your job as a head coach, and this goes back 100 years, but particularly in this day and age, is controlling the message. And some coaches go overboard with this. They want to make sure everybody in the organization is quiet and they don't say anything wrong. I think that's a mistake, but you have the opportunity every day to talk to your team. You have the opportunity 5 times a week to talk to the media. You certainly have an opportunity anytime you want, hopefully, to talk to ownership and the general manager and everyone else in the organization. But that's your number one job, is to create a message. What's the vision for the football team? Communicate that vision. And what's the message every single day? And for me, the word expectation is a tricky word. There's a lot of outside expectations in this world. But when you're in an organization, you have to make sure that the expectations are internal. Okay, the expectations you have for yourself in the building about how we're going to go about things. And I think that's the most important focus that you have to have with your team. And people talk a lot about culture and they don't want to hear much about culture. Culture to me is about getting the right people together and doing things the right way each and every day. Those are your standards. Those are your expectations. And you have to get everybody to put the blinders on every day and not listen to what the outside noise is. Now, that's easy to say in 1920. Okay. But in 2024, you walk around with that thing in your pocket and it's beeping all the time, right? And it's giving you updates about this is happening and that's happening. And guys immediately go to Twitter and all the different social media outlets that they use. So it's a constant battle. It's like playing whack-a-mole. But if you get the right people together and lay out the vision the right way, I think it becomes easier to convey that message. Are you going to be able to achieve it completely? Absolutely not. Because the players and coaches go home and now their wife is asking them. Their kids are asking them. The guy at the supermarket's asking them. So all that stuff is part of your life. But I think at the outset, you want to be ahead of it. This is the vision for the team. These are the kind of people we want to have. These are the expectations that we have for ourselves in our building each and every day. And try to eliminate the outside noise as best you can and go to work. And I think part of that sometimes can be saying, hey, remember where this team has been for a lot of years, and we're in the process of rebuilding, and we're getting our people in there. And you're making that message to the team, you're making it publicly, and then you hope each and every day everybody can stand by it, and you just simply go to work.
I love that explanation, and I think it's 100% accurate based upon everything I've learned over the past 23 years of covering the NFL and really nothing else. But I think the problem can be with some of these organizations, you get people beyond the coaching staff who are trying to maximize revenue, who are trying to sell out the stadium, who want Caleb Williams' jersey to be the hottest selling jersey in the National Football League, who want maximum primetime games. They will fan the flames and build the expectations and embrace the high expectations. And then even though the internal expectations are under control, when the fans don't get what they thought they were getting, that creates a critical mass, and that forces the team to give the fans a pound of flesh. I mean, I feel like that's part of what happened this week. The fans wanted a pound of flesh, so they got Shane Waldron, and if they want another pound of flesh later, they're going to get Matt Eberflus.
Well, it's an absolutely true dynamic, and it exists everywhere. 32 teams in the National Football League, and it's the reason why some of these organizations are worth $5, $6, $7, $10 billion, right? That's a big part of where we are in the world, creating these brands that everybody can get behind. But again, like with everything else in life, there has to be a balance to that. You have to be able to say, hey, we're excited to have Caleb Williams as our quarterback. It's going to be a growing process for him and for everybody else.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.